It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Dr. Obiajilu. How are you doing?
Excellent morning, ladies. How you all doing?
Very well, very well. Because you read the mail, that's it. We should remember.
Yes, I read my mail. I always do, actually.
How are you doing?
So, and I was scared I won't find it because I'd never won it. But I remembered in my consciousness that I kept it somewhere. So I went to the first place I remembered and I found it. So I'm good. Weekend was a bit slow. Oga was having running stomach all through the weekend. So we're just home with him, which was good, in my opinion, because he afforded him time to rest. Normally, he would have been dashing to this meeting and dashing to that meeting. But I told him, saying, God, this is not to keep you at home so that you will rest. So we rested, we saw movies together, Netflix. You know, the kids, everybody was just in the room, we're eating. And so it was a good family time.
Interesting. That's exactly what happened in my house. My husband wasn't feeling well.
Oh, wow.
He was just in the house. So we watched Sheldon. Oh, my goodness. Sheldon is a perfect family series. Perfect. I love all of us watch Sheldon. There's a new season out.
Is it
Sheldon, the young Sheldon.
The young Sheldon.
So the new season is out. So we watched the entire... all the episodes for the new series.
I like to say that. Maybe next weekend.
How are you doing, Maria?
Fine. In my house, my kids like to argue who is more like Sheldon. So for me, I just want to use today to celebrate someone who's truly special. My bonus son, my children's big brother. He turned a year older yesterday. He's such a fantastic big brother, you know. We had to talk earlier in the year, last year, and he said that he wanted to be deliberate about spending time with his younger ones. And he would make sure that at least once a week he comes and he spends time with them, he talks everything, play football, hangs out with them. Like, he says he has to do this deliberately. That boy touches my heart in such a special way. I wish you the very best in all that you do. I'm praying for your success. And, you know, we're also just very proud of you. Happy birthday, Ohi.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love your earrings. I can't see it, but I know. Oh, yeah, it's blinking.
Thank you.
How you doing, Nima?
I'm tired.
Pink today.
Yes, so pink was just sitting in my wardrobe, so I had to find something to match it. But it's been a working weekend. I don't have help. And I'm kind of enjoying going back to being in touch of things, doing things. So I took my time, shelf per shelf,
arranging
back in order, taking over my house again. And I'm in between. I don't need one, I need one. So I got a woman that, you know, people are really looking for work. I got 2 people who want to clean the compound, want to help with the in-house work, but then I don't want someone far above my age, because sometimes when I spark, so I want someone that when I spark to, it's in order of age. So I had to...
It won't seem like disrespect.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I sparked for someone for incompetence. I said, Madam, I'm a mature woman. I said, I'm a mature woman myself.
So
we're both maturing together.
I have my spark, so I sent her to my mother-in-law's flat, so she'll be working there. And I'm still in between whether I need one or a
younger person.
Between they confusing.
But interestingly, I've been mentally preparing myself for November because, you know, my other helper's gone. She went to get married. In fact, she got married last weekend. Now, the other one is leaving in November. So I'm mentally preparing my mind. Listen, I am not getting anybody else. I don't care if we...
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure.
Hey, Mariah, that
is your work.
We will manage ourselves.
Mariah,
We will manage ourselves. Yes.
It's your work.
You know that Fran used to be my support
system. Have energy.
My small
she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Bought a crate of eggs because there's nobody else to do it on Thursday.
He bought the whole crate.
Go and buy a crate of eggs. And none broke. I'm talking, he walked a distance like the gates here to this gate. And he brought everything home safe. I was like, Imran, you are impressed.
You wish I come and
but I would never have tried if I had someone else.
So my mind, like, interestingly, every single day now, I wake up thinking, okay, this could be what I'll be doing in the morning, sweeping, the cleaning. Let's start getting... I keep telling the kids, listen, this is going to be your role. Because
before they go to school.
So my brain is constantly like, I don't know.
No, you adjust.
You would adjust. We'll be okay.
Like me, as you know, I like everything.
Yeah.
But now, giving that up.
You can't have, yes, you can't have both.
Yeah, so what's important now is that they are doing it. However we're doing it, we're learning the skill.
Yes. So can't have both.
We'll manage. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll look at the fun pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Supreme Court verdict, APC didn't trade off Kano and Plateau. Government to change approach on disco's funding. LIRS affirms January 31st deadline for annual tax returns submission. President gets kudos for anti-graft moves. President won't spare culprits after probe into Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. Food forex pressures push inflation to 29%. Edo 2024 APC invite Oshomole, Ezeyamu and others. And wasteful, Eagles fail to win AFCON opener. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay. So the major headline. So now they're singing praises of the president as well as the Supreme Court because, of course, Kano, the Supreme Court upheld the victory of the NMPP at the Kano governorship elections, as well as that of Plateau, as well as Abia, several other states like that that were at the Court of Appeal last week, and all of them, you know, the Supreme Court, sorry, they were at the Supreme Court last week, and the Supreme Court upheld all of their election victories. And now they're singing the praises of the courts, that they have trust in the judiciary. They're also commending the president for being a father of all and non-interference with the judicial system, and so many things I would expect. But I'm hoping that this continues if it's the other way around. So congratulations to Kano State, the NMPP, to Plateau, as well as Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, whose victory was upheld at the Supreme Court. So that's the final on all of our election tribunals.
Right.
The EFCC had reopened the money laundering cases against 13 former governors and some former ministers. And then following this reopening of the investigation, that's the investigation into the stalled 772 billion fraud cases. You know, we have so many Nigerians who are asking that the anti-graft agency ensure the prosecution of these individuals involved in this alleged looting of public funds. So we have civil society groups, lawyers, and concerned citizens. They say in separate interviews with The Punch, you know, all are asking that these individuals, these ex-governors and ministers, must be brought to book. There's a whole list of all the people who are being investigated or who have been alleged to have been involved in one anti-graft activity or the other. But they said that, however, EFCC is currently investigating the 81.6 billion that was allegedly looted by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. And then there's another 2.2 billion that was alleged to have gone missing through money laundering and fund diversion and misappropriation in recent times. So many people, some of them in government, some of them used to be in government, and, you know, they're out now. And so EFCC, you know, so the narrative is, yes, EFCC may be investigating them, but then they have to also go to court. The court will determine their culpability. So this is a process. But the general message for this report is just saying that Nigerians are saying, don't forget these people. Everyone who is alleged to have committed a fraud or any other kind of money laundering needs to be brought to book.
Yeah. So Ajuri Ngalale yesterday was speaking to TVC Politics show, and where he specifically said that his special advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, was saying that there will be no sacred cows when it comes to the issue, the ongoing investigation to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. He made this known during the show yesterday, and says following the suspension of the minister, Dr. Betta Edu, the president last weekend has suspended, however, the 585 million naira allegation of the payment into private accounts. So he was being interviewed yesterday, and he specifically said that the president has instructed the EFCC and also I think it's also Mr. Wali Adun, the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, to chair the investigation of all that happened at the ministry. And he said that the president has directed such investigation to say that no name should be left out. If they are found guilty, they must all be brought to book. Anyway, this investigation takes the FCC and other investigating authorities, that it is where the investigation must go, and the president was very strong and adamant on that. He said the president also said that we shouldn't worry about any cabinet reshuffling at this time. It's too early for that. he's not going to let time go, and if he fully understands that somebody is not up to the task, he will fix the problem and ensure that no stone is left unturned, that all ministers can be investigated and there are no sacred cows within his cabinet.
Yeah, so the federal government is not happy with the poor performance of electricity distribution companies, and so it's planning to change its approach to funding the 11 firms. It said that the DisCos had not paid any dividends to the federal government, despite owning a 40% stake. And also the government has injected not less than $1.25 billion in the last 12 years into the DisCos operations, apart from the other interventions also running into billions of naira. And in spite of this, we still have an epileptic electricity. So they also said the lack of returns led the government to strip the Bureau of Public Enterprise, BPE, of his authority over his shares in the DisCos. The Ministry of Finance incorporated MOFI, which is by law mandated to manage government assets, and now they have to take charge of the government's 40% stake in the DisCos. Now, a Ministry of Finance official was the one that talked about this frustration of the government at the weekend and said that since 2012, not a single dividend had been paid, and this is not working for them, considering all the amount of money that has been put into that. And also, the president has a plan to build our economy to $1 trillion. And if we do not have electricity, that will not work out well. If we are not able to, increase our gross domestic product, we will not be able to get that $1 trillion that the government has planned. And now they're asking a question that how do they address some of these things? And it's just by, government changing its plans of either funding them or not funding them, or partnering with private as well. And this is going to be affecting different businesses till they get it sorted. So the hope now is that government does something very fast so that we can have a bit of electricity for businesses to thrive.
Okay, The Punch, 7 major marketers get approval to sell Dangote fuel. Passengers stranded as BRT drivers down tools over pay. Ex-minister's friend offers to pay 50 million naira for abducted Abuja girls. Tinubu strips gulped 3.4 billion naira in 6 months, says government spend. Policemen not permitted to search citizens' phones, Lagos State Commissioner of Police says. And EFCC, Nigerians want ex-governors to account for 772 billion naira.
Okay, major headline again.
Major headline?
So 7 of the major oil marketers, all 7 of them actually, have registered according to their Secretary and Chief Executive Officer, Clement Insong. He said they've already met with Dangote himself and they've registered to to distribute refined products from that facility as soon as it's ready. The Dangote group says that they've started the process of refining into crude into diesel as well as aviation fuel, and they are hoping that as soon within this month start to distribute the product across. But IPMAN said they were meeting with them last week. The story remains that they are still hoping to meet with Dangote so that IPMAN can know where they stand with the distribution of petroleum products, as well as the petroleum retail petroleum group. I'm trying to get there for Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, also who are also engaging the management for distribution, supply of products license.
Okay, let's go to a short break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers. We'll continue with Punch.
Yeah, I have another story. So the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Fayoade Adegoke, has said that no police officer is permitted to search phones of any Nigerian. He said the police force has a cyber section that's responsible for that. And if any officer suspects anything, they will just take you to the station, and then the cyber section will handle that. He also said that if you've been cheated by the police and you want to make a report, you can report to the DPO, that's allowed. And if the DPO is not forthcoming, you go to the area commander. And if the case is not solved to your satisfaction, you can forward to him directly. That his number is all over, it's everywhere for Nigerians, for Lagosians to access. And also that no policeman has the right to beat citizens. That the people are the government employees, that your taxes are the ones that support them, so they must treat you with appropriate decency. And so no beating of Nigerians, no searching of their phones, except you take them to the cyber section of the police for that to happen. So I think Nigerians need to also understand their rights as well, to demand that, okay, if you want to see my phone, let's go to your station.
Okay, so the immediate past Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, has revealed that one of his friends has offered to pay 50 million naira as a balance for the ransom to the bandits to release the remaining Mansour al-Qadriya sisters. If you recall, al-Qadriya sisters, 5 children and the daughter of his late brother were abducted, and one was killed on Friday. I think it was buried on Friday. Really sad. That was the Nabeeha. She was killed, sadly. It was really, really a painful situation, and the remaining sisters are still up in abduction. So Issa Pantami's friend has offered to pay the remaining 50 million naira balance to them, and hopefully they should be released. They're expecting them to be released immediately. He says that further, I spoke to a friend, and he was saying it was through his Twitter page or X page. He says that I spoke to a friend and a brother who offered to pay the remaining 50 million naira of the 60 million that was initially paid. And the father of our daughters, Mansour al-Qadriya, to the friend and brother to send the money directly. Any additional amounts can be used to take care of the girls when they're being released. He said, may the Almighty Allah reward the brother and friend for this donation. So we're going to talk about it a bit later, but it's really, really sad, the space of kidnapping in that region. Moving on quickly now to Daily Sun. Turbulent times ahead for aviation sector. Imo Agoga Uzodinma begins second term. Supreme Court, mammoth crowd welcomes Governor Yusuf in Kano. Sale of forms for the 2024 UTME kicks off today. Serap asks Akpabio Abbas to cut 344.85 billion National Assembly budget. Beta Edu, Ohaneze youth kick against media trial. Okay, which story?
Okay, Jam, of course, the spokesperson of the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, in a statement last year disclosed that the sales of form would run till February 2026, and similarly, and now that March 7 is slated for the mock UTMEs, but the sale of form commences today, the 15th of January 2024. He announced the outline of all the exams. The mock exams will be March 7, and the main UTME will be April 19th to the 29th. They have different days. While candidates are expected, of course, to print their examination slips from April 10. I hope that I wish all those participating in this year's JAM success.
All the best.
Wish them all the best. So the report says the inability of the foreign airlines to repatriate their trapped $800 million from ticket sales accruals has cost Nigeria a blistering 40% loss in air travel market share in 1 year. They said for 2 years running now, offshore carriers have been at loggerheads with the federal government over their detained funds. And though the government had released $60 million that's the central bank, it's still not even up to the 50% that they are asking for so that they can continue their business. So the aggrieved carriers, through their union, the Association of Foreign Airlines and Representatives in Nigeria, AFAN, are warning that if they are not able to repatriate their funds, they will likely toe the line of Emirates and Etihad that suspended their trip 2 years ago into the country. Now, the Vice President of the National Association of Nigerian Travel Agencies, NANTA, Yinka Folami, talked about it, saying that the difficulties of repatriating their revenue generated from their ticket sales is what is making them block their lower inventory. So you find it very difficult now if you're in Nigeria and you want to book a flight outside the country. Now, what most Nigerians are doing now is either book from other African countries which is cheaper for them. Some have even liaised with their family and friends abroad so they can book their tickets abroad. And that is also taking out revenue for our nation. So they're asking that the government has to do something about repatriating their funds for them. We need to import more. We need to export more so that we can make the funds to be able to pay. Or else, I don't know. That's just the solution.
Call it quagmire. Okay, you have a story? Let me take the president, state governors, ministers, National Assembly members, and other prominent Nigerians are expected to be in Owerri for the second term inauguration of Governor Senator Hope Uzodimma. The Commissioner for Information, Declan Emelumba, disclosed this, that the presidency has confirmed attendance. He said that they're expecting quite a number of governors to also attend. According to the commissioner, owing to the pan-Nigerian disposition of Governor Uzodimma, traditional leaders across the country would also grace the event. He announced that because of the quality of guests being expected, security had been beefed up in and around Owerri. He also appealed to residents of the state to accord their traditional hospitality to all the guests attending the inauguration ceremonies. I would love to hear former Minister Fashola's thoughts on this. Moving on to Vanguard. Manufacturers threatened as CRR rises 45.5% to 30.81 trillion naira. Ohaneze youth praised Tinubu flea media trial of Beta Edu. With 2,900 trucks, $20 billion Dangote refinery products will flood market, says marketers. Supreme Court verdict, we didn't trade off Kano. Remembrance Day, governors drum support for armed forces, families of fallen heroes. And AFCON, Nigeria 1-1 to Equatorial Guinea. Westerhoff Nwanu in shock as asked many questions about Eagles.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yesterday was the Armed Forces Remembrance Day's Thanksgiving service across the nation. And so we had governors, Governor Sanwo-Olu in Lagos had it at the Chapel of Christ Lights, at the Secretariat in Alausa, the governor of Plateau as well, Caleb Mufwang, and Ekiti, all across like that. And generally, what they're asking is that, you know, we remember the fallen heroes, their families. We should put their families first. We should support the members of the armed forces. Generally, they're asking for these things, but we do this every year. And Miriam took a story of widows of 1992 who are still asking for the entitlements of their husbands.
Yeah.
And you wonder whether we are saying what we mean. You know, it should not, these women should have even had closure. They should know their husband have died, they've raised their kids, government had done what they need to do. But we do this every year. So I took the story with a bit of...
a pinch of salt or a bucket of salt?
No, with a heavy heart. I didn't really feel impressed by the governors and the ceremony, because we made it a ceremony rather than a continuous reminder to do the needful. So,
okay, so the youth wing of Ohaneze Ndigbo yesterday condemned the described as media trial of the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Beta Edu. They also lauded the president for his doggedness and adherence to the rule of law. The leader of the youth wing of the group, Chukwuma Okpala Ezoku, who made the condemnation, says Ohaneze Ndigbo youth wing commend President Bola Tinubu for his proactiveness and adherence to the rule of law on the issue of the recently suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. We also thank him for setting up a presidential panel to investigate the veracity of the allegations instead of sacking her outrightly. Consequently, we hereby wish to rally support for the suspended Minister, Dr. Beta, by calling on Nigerians to allow her fair hearing and let the ongoing investigation run its course without media trial. Okay, I think that's our final paper. Let's take Nigerian Tribune very quickly. Let's find a story we've not taken. PDP, APC set to clash in Plateau. Only 23 Nigerian businesses make over $1 billion revenue annually, says PEBEC. Controversy trails alleged plan of foreign airlines to pull out of Nigeria. Concerns grow over kidnappings in Abuja, and the earlier raids Scotch's factory in Ibadan. Intercepts large consignment of Canadian loud. And Edo 2024 Polls show 74% of voters support zoning, and Finance Ministry takes over federal government stakes in 11 discos. Okay, story.
NDLEA, operatives of NDLEA said on Thursday they raided a school cheese factory in Ibadan, Oyo State, where 76.6 kilograms of cannabis sativa, 134 grams of tramadol, 93 grams of rohypnol, 50 liters of already produced cookies. They say it's a liquid mixture containing various types of psychoactive substances. All these were recovered. They said operatives also intercepted large consignments of Canadian loud. This is an imported strong synthetic strain of cannabis. It was packaged in 324 bags, weighed 111.2 kilograms, and this was found in the Onikon area in Lagos Island. It was being conveyed for distribution in an unregistered Grand Caravan vehicle by a 42-year-old named Taufik. They said this arrest they were able to do this based on credible intelligence after they had arrested a particular Italy-bound Godwin who was intercepted while attempting to board Royal Air Maroc flight. Quantities of codeine-based syrup and rohypnol concealed in his luggage, and many other operations that the NDLEA has done over the period.
All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
It's the last but one event to commemorate this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. The National Christian Center bustles with activities. Hymns fill the air. Senior government officials, service chiefs, serving and retired military and paramilitary officers are present in recognition of the sacrifices of the armed forces in safeguarding the territorial integrity of the country. The ceremony is also to honor the fallen heroes who laid down their lives in service to humanity during the First and Second World Wars, Nigerian Civil War, and peace support operations.
Hope of a New Dawn.
In a sermon titled Hope for a New Dawn, the Archbishop of the Abuja African Metropolitan Church commends the armed forces for their contributions in building the nation of our father.
Their number. So they are all the full support
This year. The ceremony is also It's the last but one event to commemorate this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. The National Christian Center bustles with activities. Hymns fill the air. Senior government officials, service chiefs, serving and retired military and paramilitary officers are present in recognition of the sacrifices of the armed forces in safeguarding the territorial integrity of the country. The ceremony is also to honor the fallen heroes who laid down their lives in service to humanity during the First and Second World Wars, Nigerian Civil War, and peace support operations.
hope of a new dawn.
In a sermon titled Hope for a New Dawn, the Archbishop of the Abuja African Metropolitan Church commends the armed forces for their contributions in building the nation and tasked the government to fulfill its mandates.
We also pray that many of our policies will be targeted at the poor.
Thanks for staying with us. On the show today, we'll be discussing the situation of insecurity in the FCT as regards to the high rate of kidnapping, with so many cases being reported in the last few weeks. The prominent of which is the group of sisters abducted in Buhari Area Council of Abuja, with one of the sisters who have reportedly died in captivity. Nigerians on social media have started the fundraising campaign for the ransom to seek the release for the remaining 5 sisters, and this action has been met with mixed reactions. Now, as I took it in a paper review earlier, the former Minister of Information, Issa Pantami, said his friend has offered to pay the 50 million naira ransom, and they're hoping that the girls will be released. But aside from this, quite a few terror has been happening in Abuja. So from another report in the Vanguard, it says that about 4 out of 10 persons kidnapped in Kubwa, Dutse area of the territory have been found killed and dumped at Ida near Ushafa in Buhari Area Council. Among the bodies was that of a secondary school student and the daughter of an Ekiti State-born chief legal officer of the National University Commission, NUC, for Lorensho Ariyo, and a 400-level student of the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria Nabeeha Kadriya. Miss Ariyo was abducted along her mother and 3 siblings 2 Sundays ago, while Nabeeha Al-Qadriya was abducted with her father and 5 of her female siblings last Tuesday in the same axis. Now, this story obviously has broken the hearts of many Nigerians, especially because we have there have been efforts to do a general fundraising for these people, but there's always that question of, should we continue to fund terror? Should we continue to fund kidnapping if we raise funds to pay back the ransom? But the real question is, what are the security operatives doing? What is the Nigerian government doing to ensure safety, especially in the FCT? That's the conversation this morning. You can call us on 081 07641 679 090 241 63440. You can tweet to us at TVC Entertainment using the hashtag YourViewTV on TVC. I would like to go for this. Is a very, very sad story.
It's a sad and painful story. I'm just, first of all, worried that Abuja is like the seat of power.
Yeah.
You know, and if these people have the guts to come into a place like Abuja, just like that, it happened 2 weeks after it happened again. And so far, we haven't gotten any news as to where these girls are. We don't know yet what the security officials are doing, how they are going about it. We haven't seen anybody rescued so far. It's discouraging to every Nigerian, and it's painful because even if we say, okay, let's come together and support, just let's do this GoFund, get the funds, and release these people. What's the assurance that they will be released? Because we've seen people who've been kidnapped, God forbid, and after they've collected ransom, they still do go ahead and do what they want to do. So it's very painful, and I cannot categorically say Nigerians should not contribute, because if I put myself in that shoe, I would want that everybody around me would do whatever they can to just get these people out. I think in the news also it was said that one of them had been killed. Did Nahi? Yes, killed as well. So I can only not understand really. I can only just imagine what the family members are going through right now. They are going to be looking at any means available just to get the people out. But we must see that the government is doing something. We must hear that they are saying something. We must see moves that something is happening.
Yeah.
And also the fact that when people of a certain class, a certain status, are kidnapped, we see the speed with which, government responds. We want that speed for every Nigerian, because every Nigerian deserves to have a life. Every Nigerian deserves to live. Every Nigerian deserves to be protected.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's sad. It's just the same with the going into villages and shooting people for days and getting away with it. Now we have kidnappers actually going into homes where people are supposed to be safe, knock on their doors, open their doors, and drag them out. There used to be a time they would say, they were traveling. Oh, don't travel at night, don't travel in the morning. Now they're in their homes, and you drag them out. So the situation is really dicey. On the part of government, you hear them having these meetings and all these strategies, and on the and in the paper, sometimes you see their bi-weekly reports, so showing where there have been successes. They will tell us how they've rescued some people from kidnappers, so we see that. But then we have this, and it's happening nearly every day. It just shows that we need to change strategy in the way that we're handling this situation. Some people are already asking that the security chiefs, if they're not going to be, if they're not certain of how to go about this, maybe we should get new ones. Nigeria, we are desperate at this point, Mariah. Honestly, Mariah, I don't have anything to say because there's nothing new to say.
Okay. Yeah.
It's still the same thing. We're here today. Someone has been kidnapped. Sadly, someone is killed. People are asked to pay millions and millions of naira, monies that they do not have. So this particular family, because it's making the rounds. Now, it's making the rounds not because it's the only one that's happened. There are others, but it's not making the headlines like this one. 6 daughters, or 5 daughters and their cousin, they were abducted with their father. They were asked to pay 60 million, 10 million per head. They were unable to do that. And then the kidnappers, to prove a point, killed one of the daughters. And now the family, everyone is running helter-skelter trying to raise money. There is a part of this story, too, that has been brewing, especially in the north, which is the family, before the girl was killed, had gone out for like a public fundraising and is asking, was asking blogs to post their stories. Now blogs are saying, and now when the girl was killed, it's now a story of blaming the blogs for not putting out the story. Blogs are saying they've been warned not to put up stories that has to do with raising ransom. It's a security issue, don't do that. But, the part of Nigeria is saying, if it were your family member, would you adhere to that? Now, in addition to that, we have Pantami, that's the former minister. He's saying that a friend of his has agreed anonymously to raise the 50 million that is left, But then we have NIN. He is the minister that was in charge of that. They pushed for that. And the reason we remember all the details we're asking was so that for periods like this, you're able to trace calls. Because they're making calls. He, in his response on his X page, is saying that it's not that this policy is not working. It's just that implementation. He says that there are 3 instances where it was used and they saw that the victims were rescued, but that we're not using it. Why are we not using it? I thought that we're at this point because we have tried everything else. To hear that we're at this point because we are not using some resources. Okay.
Let me hear from Nima. Your thoughts on this. It's a very, very painful development.
Very painful, very disheartening one. I saw the janaza for Nabeeha and I felt pained on behalf of her family and friends. Worst case is just what Miriam said. All I kept saying, because sadly, we had to follow this story online. The PPRO of the police had come out to say they had told the father, he was replying a tweet, what's they call the X now, a message on X, saying, we have helped tell the father we are doing everything possible. And I'm wondering, which kind of work is the job you now doing online now? Must it be a reply? Is it a PR issue now? Or is it about the image of the police or the rescuing of the girls? You know, why are you bringing this here? You should be talking to the father. If you have any reason, you should be giving him that reassurance and telling him, not responding in this manner to that tweet. And then only for me to see the former Minister for Communications and Digital Economy come on to tweet again that somebody had donated the money in question. And I'm like, the people were running from our own Twitter. Mm-hmm. If you have the money, send it. Why are we everybody just tweet? Why waiting to happen? You know, these are lives we're talking about. These are human lives we're talking about. And the way we act as if everything is about what people see of us at the time is very painful. So what would have been beautiful is that friend had donated and the young lady had been released. What was even more beautiful would have been better is that the police were on top of it, and really on top of it. The kidnappers were arrested, and we see that. And we doesn't have to tweet about what that they're doing something, but we then come out and say, our Nigerian police, we give you hats off for you, triple twale for only your and all of that. We would shout it. You don't have to come and tweet it. We're talking about human lives, and the poor girl, young in her prime, they said she was so happy to graduate at 20. She was buried at 21. Mm-hmm. Young in her prime. And the family who have been looking up, raising this child from birth, looking up to, you know, her future, will have to mourn her. These are two sensitive things for us to be joking around. Now, Abuja is an area of emergency, security emergency. What they call it, one-man group, what they call this?
One chance.
Robbery, one chance. One chance robbery and killing last year of a lady went popular. It was Abuja. The kidnappings in Abuja is everywhere. It happens in Lagos, because I had a client who was picked up on the Alimosho area of town, but he was released. But Abuja is so sensitive, it's worse. It's happening continuously. A young lady in the Buhari, I think Nabeeha there in the Buhari area.
Yes, Buhari.
Another young lady was, kidnapped recently, also murdered. These things are happening too. Yes. So this is happening too often for us for the Nigerian police, whose headquarters is in Abuja, to allow it to continue.
Exactly.
We heard that the family was called on phone to come and pick up a gift for failing to meet up the ransom amount, and they came to pick up the body. Okay. So they don't tell us there's no technology to find, track and arrest or do something technically wise on the part of the police. Just do what you need to do.
They say there is, but we don't use it. Can you imagine?
Police will tell you that they've used some of these resources to rescue some. Police will tell you that they've had some success stories. They will tell you that, but in this situation, we'll have to find out from the police exactly what happened. Let's go on a shop. We're going back. We'll try to see if we can bring in the FCT commander to give us an update. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. All right, so while we're still waiting, hopefully at some point, the FCT Commissioner for Police, Haruna Garba, at some point we're waiting for him to say something on these kidnappings, because we're yet to hear from him, and I'm hoping that at some point during this week, there can be an official statement from him, especially because of the rampant kidnappings. But however, others have criticized, even Wiki says that we're yet to hear from him either, that he seems to be focused more on politics, that he's not, when it comes to other issues of maybe taking over land or taking the COO issues, properties, he's very loud.
More about River State issues.
Yeah, well, River State issues, he's very vocal. But these are the real issues going on within the communities in the FCT, and it's important for us to hear from the minister himself.
Yes. I agree. I also wanted to quickly add that because I was on the issue of tweeting about facts and money, the Mr. Pantami's tweet might cause another issue. Initially, the families were asked to raise a certain amount of money, which was increased when Nabeeha was killed. Yes. Now you have tweeted that there's a person offering to pay. Oh. You shouldn't have. As an ex-minister, you should even have, some of this background knowledge. I thought it was
not, but there was just so much happening on the Twitter space, which seemed like no one was doing anything. I just feel like because of the position he's held before and, you know, what his ministry really pushed for, I just found it quite ironic that in this situation he's asking, he's talking about ransom being paid.
When he should be raising the questions.
About, yes, the resources that we've already deployed as a country to be used. Well, he mentioned that it's being used in 3 cases that he's aware of, and successes were recorded at that time, but we're not using it. How is it that this is something that can be part of our security arsenal and we're not using it to save Nigerians?
What are we keeping it for?
Exactly. Now, when we talk about this kidnapping, I know many times we just, we come down heavily on our military and our police. But on the other side is that we have very wicked people who have become bandits and kidnappers and have made this a job. You know, we need to also call them out. They come from somewhere. They are somebody's sons and children and neighbors. Yes. You see people spending some money anyhow, and you know that there's no way it makes sense. There's some of you that are dealing with them. You are providing them food and medicine. And then when they kidnap them, how do you feel? They're all part of our community. We're all in this together. When they say we are complicit, this is what it means. How are people... They are now even showing their faces on Twitter and TikTok. That's how bold they are. Or is it naive or foolish? You know, the thing is that something has to be done concretely. Enough of the talk. It has to be done in such a way that even kidnappers, they will have to strategize and strategize before they can get into a space. Now we're talking about FCT in particular. You expect that particular... It's supposed to be such a stronghold that you'll be afraid to get in there. And that when kidnappers or bandits get into that territory, to go out or come in, you're able to... You should be able to tell. We're so far behind. Yeah. These criminals are getting away with too much, and we're so far behind. We really need to step up.
So we need to put some facts on ground. We do not have enough manpower to handle Nigeria. The security issues in Nigeria, we do not have that. And people have been clamoring that we have community policing. We must begin to look into community policing. Every day we sit here and we read out how Amotekun has been working and helping to curb some things. And in some areas, we have seen the impact. What are we waiting for in other areas? What conversations do we have when the security chiefs sit down to talk about the security architecture of the country, looking at what is happening right now? We must insist that we have community policing. We have the neighborhood watch. Some of these people, as a result of having nothing to do, join the bandwagon. But if they are gainfully deployed, people are looking after one another in the community who gets to the end of this, you know, as a matter of fact. So we must begin to ask, what do we do about community policing? How do we increase the manpower of our security officials? I've been to Abuja. Abuja is big. The northern states are really, really big. How many police officers will you institute in those empty lands? You have to drive a long distance to get to a village. Those are some of the real problems that our security officials are facing. And the government will be seen to be doing something about it.
Let me take a call from Ayodele. He's calling from Surulere. Thanks for calling, Ayodele.
Hello, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, I heard what we have said, and I particularly want to look at it from the point of view of the citizens, the people. Many times, these people, we see strange activities around us, but nobody says anything. Something about this happened recently in my own neighborhood. One of the neighbors hit somebody with a blade, with a sharp knife. And then he thought the person actually fell, and he ran away for 2 weeks. Then he comes back into the neighborhood. The landlord accepts him back so that he can secure his property. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. This guy does not deserve to come back to this neighborhood. He should, we're still on it. The guy is still the big guy. And this is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Thank God for our security agencies and about the people. When we see questionable behavior or questionable people around us, we should do something about it. Say something. What is in here? Why do we have this? I believe it should be 50-50. Government and the people. This area in Abuja, I'm sure those bandits are living inside those estates. So, and people sending them. So these are things that we must look at.
So it's really quite, one of the bizarre things about this is that it's been happening around the same area, that Dutse area, a territory, and it's been, they've had about 10 kidnappings in that area in recent times. So that in itself is something the police can zero in and investigate. Sure. Just like our last caller said, community also must be involved. You have to see what's going on around you. Gray areas of the markets, there's got to be people. I know we don't have enough manpower, but we have to hear from the police what they're doing to work more smart and also see how much of their resources are available, what kind of technological resources are available. I know, for example, in Lagos State, across the state, we don't have cameras, but there are some areas that we're having cameras on the expressways. Maybe we need to make sure that all the major highways have cameras. These are some of the things we need to deploy. It's difficult. But
it's enough. So I know that they said the FCT had met with, I think, like an Israeli group. They're trying to come up with something concerning security for the FCT.
In the pipeline.
Yes, it's in the pipeline for the FCT area. Everything is in the pipeline while the kidnapping is going on. While the
president is seated and there's kidnapping right behind. It's like Nkule, my Nkule. It's really disrespectful.
There's something Miriam mentioned now about these people having their faces online, and I wonder there used to be investigation of means. So maybe I just come online now, come and say I just bought a Maybach,
yacht.
I just bought a yacht, I just arrived. The business of intelligence is to follow the money.
Yeah.
And say this person, from where I was born in Ojuelegba to how, somebody should be following me around to say at what point did this money fall on top of me, or I fall into it, or I stole it. Somebody should be tracing those people and following them unannounced, not until we have somebody dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
These people come online, they put their faces, they joke, people follow them, continue to popularize this ill of money anyhow. Nigerian police will not investigate it until they are asking for ransom. I don't understand.
Let me take this call from engineer. Good morning. Thanks for calling, sir. Engineer Agbola, you're live.
Good morning, man.
Morning, sir.
I'm a first caller on this show.
Welcome to the show.
Because what is happening in Nigeria now has become norm. Because even in my area in Kwara State, they have been kidnapping and kidnapping and kidnapping. And even they kidnap, what I reason along presently is because these people, they are professionals. Even we have some of these, our security agencies amongst them. Their shootings are professionals. You get, it has become norm, which is very, very wrong. Because my own thing to this is they should even stop paying ransom. Let us stop being emotional to this. Maybe if they stop paying ransom, things will change in this country. If they want to kill, let them continue killing. Because it's painful when they are even kidnapping your neighbors.
Thank you, Engineer Golan. It's a difficult conversation to have because on one second you're saying, oh, they should just kill and not, but when it's your family members, it only touches different.
It just shows you the desperation, really.
Yeah.
That so Nigeria, the thought is, okay, if they now realize that when they kidnap and there's no ransom being paid, maybe they'll stop kidnapping. But we cannot use Nigerians as guinea pigs. So what we need to do as a country is find different ways to lure them. Mark notes. I'm not a security personnel, and I hate to sit down here and behave as if I have the training, but there's
we have training in Hollywood. Hollywood has trained us.
Exactly, Hollywood. Hollywood has, you would say that, there has to be we may not have enough physical, human manpower on ground, but how are we doing things smarter? How are we using technologies? How are we collaborating with countries who are doing better than us in this? At this time, how are we investing, in technology to do better? When we have our NIN and BVN, why are we not deploying that? Why is the former minister saying that we are not deploying that in looking for kidnappers?
How do we
have to wrap up
courts? Just quickly.
How?
Abi, just quickly.
That's your train of thought.
Don't forget.
You're going to talk about how prosecution.
Yeah, how do we prosecute the people that are caught? Every country that we have today that we admire their security, had to go through a process of being crude in treating their criminals till their people got civilized enough to understand. We were starting from the up to the ground. Nobody does that. You don't grow from the top to the ground. You grow at the level and the consciousness of your people.
We should be ruthless.
Yes, we should be ruthless.
Yes, with criminals.
With criminals, when you are caught as a kidnapper, there's no conversation. There's no court time. You don't have it. We're ruthless about it. And you see how, because the truth of the matter is, Nigerians love to live. They love their lives. You will see how people would face another line of business immediately. Nobody wants to lose their life.
So I wanted to.
But we're starting from civilization. Please continue.
Even in Hollywood, there are still unsolved crimes. Plenty safe of kidnappings. But what we have is one of, ransom payments. In this country, when the bank robberies happened in Badagry and Ikorodu then, they found those guys in Warri spending the money. Nigerian police calmly let them start the lavishness. And at the wedding, they picked up the guys. It's in this Nigeria here that happened. Yeah. So we know that it is possible here. When they are ready, they will deploy what minister said they cannot use and find the people. So we cannot continue to do this choice and choose when to be. A Nigerian police should have a well-funded department. Yeah. And if it is the business of government to provide that fund, they should provide it already. Because the cost of making families raise monies for kidnappers is what is enriching and encouraging the kidnappers.
Yes, helping them get
this call.
And it comes back.
Joy has been holding for Makoka. Thanks for calling, Joy. You're live. Oh, I'm so sorry I kept you. Something that Mariam said earlier that I would like to also rehash again is the fact that one of the reasons why we have this cashless society is so that we can trace the money, right? So that everything can be online. So if you're transferring 50 million, if this is our new guy, that this friend of Pantami is transferring 50 million, is it via the bank? If they're doing it via the bank, whose account are they transferring to?
They don't collect transfer.
And they trace.
These people don't collect transfer.
Well, no, but you can't take 50 million from the bank. You can't collect 50 million from cash.
That's why payments are delayed.
That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes
you can't collect 50 million cash anymore in this country.
Some of the Kaduna kidnappers on the train, cash was an issue. They found the cash. It fell into the scarcity period. People were looking for cash at all costs because the kidnappers insisted on cash.
We find cash.
That 100 million were paid in cash.
In cash, they find cash.
Nigerians found the money.
The reason why we're trying to push for cashless society is because of things like this of insecurity, so we can trace the money.
Let me even help you.
Yeah.
So what she's saying, we can trace the money. So if there's less cash, when you hand over cash to a kidnapper, it's easier to trace because there's less money around. So if you mark that kind of money, it's easier to trace because that person has to now put it in a bank or somewhere so that he's able to transact.
Trade it.
Oh yes. So we have to. The cashless society. I mean, the cashless system will be great for that. But it was happening at the time that we wanted to use it. There was a lot of politics associated with it. But for security reasons, it will make good sense.
So that was one of the point I was trying to make, Mariam, was the fact that in this case, we don't know if it was cash that Pantami's friend sent. If it was cash, okay. But in case it was transfer, I'm assuming as a citizen that if indeed we've been having cashless for the past at least 1 year.
Transfer.
If that can't they trace the transfer?
So that's why if it's transfer, that's why we have NI and BVN.
Because even for campaign, they couldn't find money to distribute.
But if it is cash, which is more likely to be cash, that's why we're saying mark the notes.
Should be marked.
Put camera inside somewhere and then follow the numbers.
I remember during campaign, it was difficult to have money. There was no money. So where does somebody just get? Where do you get 50 million naira cash from? That's in itself.
This kidnapping is bigger than what you ladies are saying. They are collaborators sabotaging the citizens and community neighbors and Okada riders and informants on their fellow citizens in the community. There is a docility and inertia from our security agencies. They don't care. Imagine police taking arms from community members and the next day, bandits come to kidnap. We are on our own. God for us all. This is so sad.
I'm going to go on a very short break. We're going to try to bring in a guest to give us some professional perspective to this before we bring it to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so just to give us some insight into this conversation we're having, we're going to be speaking with us right now, the Director General, Nigerian Army Resource Center, Major General Garuba Wahab, retired. He will be sharing his thoughts on the insecurity that is prevalent, especially in the FCT. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for the invite.
Yes, I know you are here for the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, but we'll get to that in a minute. But we just wanted to hear your thoughts on the current insecurity, especially in the seat of power. We discussed earlier the young girl and 2 young girls that were killed. Actually, there are 4 that were killed, 4 out of 10. There were 10 kidnappings across the FCT. 2 are really prominent because those are the news that we're getting right now for Lawrence Ariyo and Nabeeha Akridiya. These 2 young girls were killed by the abductors. Now, what are your own thoughts on what the government can do to reduce the spate of kidnapping, especially in the FCT?
A lot of things, a lot of events are happening, and definitely there is a lot of insecurity in the country, which include the Federal Capital Territory. But one thing I want everybody to realize is that Nigeria is not the only country that has security problems. Insecurity is a global issue. And the security agencies are putting in their best. The government has laid down policies and guidelines as to what is to be done and what should be done. What is required is the support of all Nigerians, because like experts keep on saying, we have a population of over 200 million. And if we combine the entire security organizations, their personnel, they are not up to 2 million. And that is not enough. So what is required is for the average Nigerian to be part of the security apparatus, the security architecture. Those who are doing most of these bad deeds, these anti-social activities, are not spirits, they are humans. And people see them. But because we are detached from the security architecture, people don't feel it as part of their responsibility to report whatever they see. And whatever goes around comes around. If we believe it does not affect us today, somewhere along the line it's going to affect those who are close to us. So whatever is being done by the security agencies, it is mandatory, it is necessary for all Nigerians to be part of what is happening. That is the best way, and that's the only way to solve the problem we're facing now.
So what do you think about Nigerians contributing money to be able to rescue these young ladies that were kidnapped? What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, there are 2 schools of thoughts. If you, on one side, you have to assist those who are victims, but then we must find a way of not letting kidnapping be a clear-cut economic activities where people believe it is the easiest way to make money nowadays. Somebody is kidnapped and 10 million, 15 million ransom is paid, 60. And people contribute. That encourages a lot of these bad activities to continue. Well, people will argue, what about those who are being kept captive? If you don't pay the ransom, they won't be released. But the more we pay, the more we encourage those who are into it. The more we encourage those who are sitting by the fence and view what is happening as a pure economic activity, and so they go into it. So it is left for us to decide what we want to do. And to do that, the judicial system, the justice system must be up and doing. And that's a major fact about the whole issue. If you arrest somebody and it takes 5-10 years to prosecute, what we are doing is to encourage impunity where people believe nothing is going to happen. So they keep on doing whatever they're doing. So if you contribute money, well, people might be released, but we're encouraging this catch-22 issue. A lot of people are encouraged to go into it. So the best bet is you sanction those who are involved, you ensure that the judicial system, the justice system is up and doing, and it's applicable to everybody.
What would you say about, security architecture? Do you think that we are truly struggling? Do you think it's lack of manpower? Do you think it's that a lack of technical, advancement? Or do you just think it's just inefficiencies?
A lot of issues are involved. Yes, the manpower issue. But you see, in the military, there is this belief that when you deal with urban warfare, which is close to what we are facing right now, we are dealing with insecurity within the urban setup. The more you put human beings there, the more it consumes. So what is required is a balanced situation where enough manpower is gotten. We go into technology, we exploit technology, because there is no way we can depend solely on humans. We must utilize technology, but above all, the policy about some of these things must be clear and far-reaching, so that those who are to develop their strategy will know what they're expected to do. Where the policy is vague, or where they believe that, after all, even if you arrest these people, nothing is going to happen. So we are discouraging a lot of those who will have been part of the entire package. So we need to structure the entire system to be a whole of society approach. Everybody should be involved, including technology, increase the manpower, ensure that the equipment required are provided. And I'm sure a lot of things, a lot of achievement will be made.
Okay, so I heard when you said that, payment of ransom encourages kidnapping. I understand that logic is basic logic. But what would you say the families should then do, give up on loved ones? How do they, should there be an immediate approach on the part of the police, or, so that families can trust to it? Or what will family do? Because we have a messy situation where families now start to solicit the funds online, which is even more messier. So what would you advise in this, particularly on this particular case in question?
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Where if we decide to say, okay, we are going to contribute, let's bring money and contribute to those to the family of those who are arrested. We are indirectly encouraging everybody. We need to encourage the police to perform their job, give them the equipment required, give them the support. A situation where we deride the police, what can they do? They can't do anything. They are part and parcel of the whole thing. Does not go well. Everybody must be part of this. And like I said, if you decide you want to keep on giving money to those who kidnap, we're encouraging a lot of others who are sitting by the fence, who have no job doing. So that leads to my next point, which is we must find a way of reducing the level of unemployment. We must engage the youth. It is believed that we have more than 60% Nigerians who are youth, and more than 55% of them are not gainfully engaged. They are either they're employed or not employed because of lack of skill, or the facilities are not there. So we have a lot of issues to look at critically. And as we solve one, other problems will come. We can't wait until, okay, let us solve this problem first before we move to the next one. It must be a whole of societal approach. Everybody must be involved. So increase the number of policemen, encourage them, provide the equipment required, engage the other agencies, the SS, even the military, the civil defense. Everybody must be involved. And there must be effective coordination, which is a little bit lacking right now. Yes, the activities are being coordinated, but it is not
some will argue, sir,
up-notch as to what it should be.
Some will argue that it's not about the number of policemen you have, it's about the kind of laws we have. There was an article I read some time ago reminding us that the military back in the 1970s had introduced the firing squad decree for crimes like robbery, kidnapping, and stuff like that, terrorists and all that. And someone said, listen, the only thing that can fix this problem is the ruthless consequence to these kind of actions. When we try to stick with the democratic process of rule of law, taking law and all that, those kind of things can be painstaking, and justice denied can also be interviewed as the justice delayed, or justice delayed is justice denied. So the point is, do you think, as a military man that you are, retired, do you think that we should have some kind of a decree, a firing squad decree, where justice is immediate, such that when you are caught kidnapping, you immediately are killed for the crime you have committed? When you do that, because this, I saw here that the decree went into effect back in April 1971, where the notorious armed robber Babatunde Folorunsho, caught alongside others, William Oyazamo, others, were executed at Bar Beach. So these are things that we don't want to see, but do you think, especially the crime rates we have now, is almost similar, or probably even more than what they had in the early 70s? Do you think it's something we should consider today?
It is, experts have argued that it is not the harshness of the law that matters. It is the application of the law. The laws are there, but we are not applying. Like I said earlier, if you take a case to court and it takes 5, 10 years for the case to be resolved, then we are creating a problem. We're encouraging impunity. Even if you bring decree and the process is too long, is too prolonged, it takes 10 years to resolve a single case, it will not solve the problem. Yeah. It is for us to find a way, Minister of Justice and the judiciary generally, to ensure speedy trial of cases, fair and firm trial of cases, not just wasting time and not just what we are seeing nowadays where people believe justice is for sale. It shouldn't be. Justice, there should be social justice. The law should be applicable to everybody. It's like I'm cut off.
No, we can hear you very clearly, sir.
Because we're quiet.
Anyway, I guess so. We want to just hear your thoughts on this. I'm going to go on a
short. So we are going to implement whatever decree. If they are not ready to do it speedily, we still continue to have the problem. It is to ensure that the justice or the judiciary performs regularly, fairly, firmly, and equitably.
Okay. All right. So I think that's all we can take on this. But we just wanted to hear your own perspective on this issue of insecurity. When we come back, we're going to focus on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So today is the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. It is notable in the nation's history, where the whole country comes together to appreciate and honor our fallen heroes. It's an annual event marked on the 15th of January to commemorate the nation's departed compatriots, as well as to honor living veterans. Join us again to shed light on this segment is the Director General, the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Major General Garuba Wahab. Thanks for staying with us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you. So every year we talk about this day, we celebrate and remember our fallen heroes. But in your view, in your perspective, do you think that the Army has done enough to actually support, I think it was Nima that took it doing the paper review, support the family and relatives of these fallen heroes?
Thank you very much. That's a serious question. It's not possible anywhere in the world to do enough for the families of those who lost their life in service to the nation. It's a continuous thing. And that's why, for instance, the Nigerian Army takes care of the education of the family, of the children, at least maximum of four of those children and some other things. But over the years, and given the level of inflation, whatever has been done cannot be enough. People are always complaining. I was chief of administration Army, and part of that responsibility fell on my lap, and I knew the enormity of what it was all about. So over time, a lot of complaints will come up, and it's a serious issue that periodically it is reviewed, things are reviewed, things are looked into, but whatever has been done can never, you can't replace, what material are you going to give to somebody who lost a father or a mother or a wife who lost the husband, who might be the breadwinner? What are you going to do? But whatever has been done is to appreciate whatever they've done. It can't be enough, but they are being appreciated. And that is to lay the foundation for those who are serving, to tell them, whatever happens to you, you'll be remembered, and something will be done to your family. That is just the essence. It goes beyond just celebration. It's to celebrate and appreciate those who are lived, and appreciate those who are still serving, so that they give their best. they know that their sacrifice will not be in vain. That's the essence of the whole celebration.
Okay, so the point I was trying to make is that, it is beyond the wreath laying and all the ceremony. What we see in reality, I schooled in the barracks in Ojo, what we see in reality is that the families are left to themselves. So is there a system, because you are an ex-military officer, where women, it will just follow a natural line, where their fees, school fees are paid, mothers are not made to start to find anyhow job or even resort sometimes to prostituting to raise their kids. Is there a clean system so that when we hear these stories, we can say, go to agency so, and so.
Verify.
And collect your gratuity with your husband's details. Up until last year, when last administration, when President Buhari did certain upgrades for their payments, ex-military officers and late military officers had nothing. When they left, their kids would have to, they call them this derogatory word, barrack speaking. So what exactly would you say are those emoluments or gratuities that are paid? How is it paid?
It's just like I said, the society don't really appreciate, even those who are serving, we don't appreciate them. Not talk of those who are late. Those who are serving, we tend to, what is called military bashing. Yes, it's your job, to hell with you. But unfortunately, even majority of those who do it, when they travel outside, even those who are serving, they enter an aircraft. The pilot announces that in our midst, we have a serving personnel. Everybody stand up and clap. That's for even somebody who is serving, not talk of somebody who is late. Here, we don't bother about anybody. And that's part of the problem we're facing. So if those who are serving are complaining, then what about those who are late? So it is the system, the military system, that is virtually left on its own to look after those who are late and those who are even serving. Things are beginning to improve a little bit. Yes, even the emolument of those who are retired. How much were they being paid? It's just recently upgraded. And then periodically they say, come and upgrade your records. And you have to be moving up and down. Now everything is being digitized. And that's affecting those who are late. If you are not looking after those who are alive, how will those who are alive look after those who are a family of those who are late? So gradually it's improving, but a lot still need to be done. We see the corpse of a soldier. I'll give an example. Late last year, a vehicle was bombed, and some soldiers were inside. And people were carrying it on the social media and sniggering and saying all sorts of nonsense. And that's to tell you the way we feel. How do we look after the dead? The cemetery. When somebody is encroaching, he wants to build a house on cemetery, then something tells you the type of people we are. So it's not the military itself that are supposed to be looking after those who lost their life. They lost their life not serving only them, but serving the system, serving the nation. So it's a national issue. But it's been virtually left to the military to keep on looking after those things. Apart from this ceremony today, I doubt if anybody is going to say, okay, what is happening? What do we need to do? It is the army that pays for the army, the Air Force and Navy, pays for the education of those of their colleagues who are late. And when they present this budget, how were those budgets reacted to? So a lot of issues. We need to have a change of attitude, a change of mindset as a nation to appreciate those who are in security, all the security agencies, because they don't sleep for others to sleep. They will die for us to be alive. So we need to put that at the back of our mind and assist them in doing their job. So when they are late, everybody needs to come together and appreciate. Not just one day ceremony and we go away. So a lot of things need to be done. But there are departments in the various services that looks after those things. Right. But it is budget. They depend solely on budget. And even for operation they are doing, the budget is not enough. So what about those who are late? So we need to start looking at those things and take those things out of the normal budgetary allocation.
Right. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Because, they say when you are pointing the finger at someone, you should look through, you're pointing back at you. Many times we make it just a military issue, not realizing that really we're all part of it. and we should pay more attention.
Yes.
But I would just like to, I mean, we're celebrating our fallen heroes, and we understand and we appreciate deeply the sacrifices that they have made for us. But there's now a new crop of soldiers, let me use that word instead of military officers, who seem to be behaving in an unprofessional manner. You know, recently there were videos of men dressed as military, as soldiers, talking back at the governor of Lagos State or talking back at people because they were reprimanded for doing something wrong. What is happening? Because usually just that uniform commands so much respect. But now we have, and also the way they would carry themselves, you know, they differentiated themselves from everybody, every Nigerian. They carry themselves with respect. But now we're having people dressed in military uniform acting, you know, without, like, they don't receive proper training, no decorum, no respect. What is wrong? What's happening, sir?
Somewhere along the line, you see, we're in an evolving environment. People tend to look at the social media and believe that they can do and say whatever they like. And it's part of the shortcomings and shortfalls of the digital age. But there are laid down procedures and processes within the military. Anybody who commits an offense, even the case we are talking about, I'm sure somewhere along the line is being investigated. And those who are involved, one or two are being investigated. So nobody is above the law. The military, anybody in the military is subjected to two types of law. The military law itself and the civil law. The law that's applicable to anybody in Nigeria is applicable to any military man. And then you have the military law. That's why we call it dual compact or compact of dual whatever. So if there are issues, unfortunately most Nigerians believe, there's nothing I can do when they are aggrieved. In each of the services, there's a Department of Civil Military Relation. So, civil military cooperation, depending on whatever the level you are talking about. Anybody who is aggrieved is entitled to report, and there are toll-free numbers that are provided for, so that people will have the belief, oh, you can call this number or report to whoever is on that desk, and they will listen to you. Whoever is wrong is taken up seriously. Even the social media that is creating this, the military has a social media policy, or policy on social media. And some of these things are being drummed periodically to service personnel. And there is nowhere where you are expected to disregard or disrespect anybody, because respect is reciprocal. You respect me for me to respect you. And that's the message being passed. So nobody's looking down on anybody, and those who are serving have been told, please respect others so that you'll be respected. So a lot of things are happening, a lot of issues are being handled. Even at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, that's part of what we do. Look at issues and come up with how do we tackle this particular issue, how do we tackle this particular problem. And then response or recommendations are forwarded to Army headquarters or Defense headquarters. These are the steps you should take to correct these observed anomalies. And that is ongoing.
Okay.
But somewhere along the line, the average Nigerian does not believe if I complain, nobody is going to answer. They will answer you.
Okay.
People will answer you. Those on that desk, those responsible in the department will definitely answer if anybody has any problem.
Okay, great. Yes. So I'm concerned about the welfare of the military, because I know that if they are not properly treated, they will not be able to function well in discharging their duties. And why am I saying this? I took in the papers last week where some pensioners, is it pensioners or pensioners, who were part of the Civil War, complained that they haven't been paid for over 44 years that they had served. Yes, it was in the Vanguard newspaper last week. And they said there was a time they were called by the government to, verify their authenticity, and they have certificates, but till now they were not funded, they were not paid their pensions. Even some of their widows, joined in that, also saying that their husband had died. Some of them were already disabled, different parts of the body gone, and the government isn't doing anything. So what is the level of the welfare of the current serving soldiers and those who have left, probably died in service? And how do you want it improved, what would you suggest to the government in helping, maintain your welfare in such a way that it dignifies the job that you're doing?
So can you hear us?
No? Okay. Well,
Hello? Go ahead.
We tend to leave the whole thing to the military. Somewhere along the line, in the past, we have a situation where the Military Pensions Board will ask retirees to come to particular places and do verification. And a lot of people could not. So many people could not make it because somebody who is sick, who cannot leave his house, who cannot move around, could not be part of that. But efforts have been made now to digitize virtually everything they do at the Military Pensions Board. Unfortunately, there are those who are not captured. The mode of recruitment during the Civil War, it started during the First and Second World War. Oh, yes. The mode of recruitment were warped. They were not normal. They were just picking people anyhow. And during the Civil War, a lot of people were recruited to fight in the Civil War, and their recruitment were not regularized. So it became a problem. And so the military find it very difficult. It is not only the military that's supposed to be involved, it is the government, including the office of the head of service. Everybody was supposed to come up and say, these are the documents. And so even if the military presents documents of individuals and says, yes, we verified, and then the ministry that's involved, Ministry of Establishment, or the office of the head of service says, no, we don't have the records of these people. They won't release the budget. They won't release any money for those people. So it's a national issue. It is not only the military. So when the military confirms this man is serving, the thing is, it is left for those who are in charge to believe in what they presented. If they don't, there's no way the military will pay those guys because they can't go beyond the budget that is provided for. The military works with precedent. Once you pay somebody once, you have to continuously pay. You can't say you want to assist this person by paying once. If you pay once, you've agreed that the person is entitled to. So one of the things that's being done now is to periodically encourage the Military Pensions Board to come up, work with the Legion, and come up with details of what is happening so that others can now intervene and be part of what is happening. That is the step now. And I hope and pray that somewhere along the line, some of those will be finally put to rest and rectified. So it's not just that maybe the military don't want to pay. Yeah. It is that even if the record is clarified at the military level, if the record is not with the federal government, not gazetted, Ministry of Information gazetting, Ministry of Establishment having the records of that person, and the head of service not ready to be part of it, there's nothing anybody can do. Yeah. So that's but a lot of efforts are being paid, and gradually some of those anomalies are being corrected. Right. And I'm sure in the nearest future, not too distant time, I'm sure all those things will be put to rest.
All right, let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Still with us, Major General Garba Wahab, retired, is still. Nima had a question for him?
So, you talked earlier about the lack of respect that Nigerians have for military officers, and sadly, it's true. But this is, of course, because of the lack of trust issues under military administrations where we're coming from. What I want you to talk about is the training that these young soldiers get from the enemy. Now, when they graduate, they can block an express road and be talking and making videos. We know the military is such an organized, sophisticated institution where these are not allowed, these kind of behaviors are not allowed. But we've seen Lagos roads, major roads, in Yaba, on the Ibadan Expressway, blocked, total traffic by young soldiers leaving the enemy. What kind of training did they get that gave them the audacity to start like that, such that Nigerians will now disrespect them in retaliation?
Thank you very much. Well, let me assure you that the military is one of the most trained organizations in the system. A young soldier is only sent onto the road, and moreover, no soldier will go onto the road if the entire unit or formation in that area had not been given the permission or call out, what we call call out. And it's a political thing. The state governor had to request for the president for the military to be deployed in that state. And so when they come out, a lot of activities, a lot of things go into the whole thing. Fortunately, yes, once in a while we have issues where people are complaining of a lack of supervision. And Army Headquarters is seriously hammering on that to the various commanders. You must supervise your men. It is not enough for you to deploy your men in an operation or to perform a particular duty, and you believe because a junior officer or middle level officer is there to supervise. There is this saying, what you expect, you inspect. And so you must go out there and continuously inspect whatever your boys are doing. Because at the end of the day, it is the commander who is held responsible for any misbehavior, misdeeds, or whatever performed by the junior ones. So a lot of efforts are ongoing as to ensuring that whoever is out there perform his job professionally. Nobody is allowed to just on his own block a road. There must be a genuine reason for the roads to be blocked. And then there are process and procedure. When you block the road, you can't check everybody. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on the information available. So somewhere along the line, we normally get it wrong once in a while, and that's why somewhere along the line,
I think you missed my question.
The talk to the civil populace, please understand with us. These are not magicians. They depend on information given to them, but those information may not be genuine, may not be accurate, may not be sincere, but then they still need to act on it. Because there's what we refer to as Rule 2080. If you have 20% of the information you need, you cannot wait for 80%. That 20% minimal compared to 80% that is lacking, but you must still go out there and perform. So the commanders have been encouraged. Ensure that you supervise your men adequately. And anybody who's being sent out goes for pre-deployment training. Before you deploy anybody, they are trained to some extent to be sure they know what they're doing.
Okay.
But once in a while, you have one or two things going wrong, and that's why the Department of Civil Military Relations is established, so that if there is a complaint, people can complain to them and tell them this is what is wrong.
Okay, since we're celebrating armed forces, I just want to, if you can share with us some of your own exploits, things you've done. Were you at ECOMOG? Did you travel? Did you go and fight for Nigeria? Well, tell us a bit of something so that we can celebrate you and be grateful for Major General Wahab in our studio today. Tell us a bit of your own exploits in the military.
Thank you very much. We celebrate those who are alive, and we also celebrate those who are late. The celebration is both sides. To encourage those of us who are retired but still serving, still alive, and to celebrate those who are in active service, for them to keep on giving their best, to know that, yes, even in death, they'll be remembered. And that encourages them to give their best. We've lost so many brilliant and young people, but that's what it's signed for. That's what we signed for. The oath of allegiance is taken to be deployed anywhere.
Were you ever at the front lines?
No question, no query, nothing. And that's why the compact comes in. The military law that governs the military is such that you can't query, you can't ask questions. You can't tell anybody this is where I want to serve. You must go to wherever you are deployed to. So we appreciate TVC and everybody for being part of what is happening today. And we hope that it is not just
Major General, you have not answered my question.
Full support.
Where were you deployed to? Were you in the office? Were you
Where did you fight, sir?
You didn't fight. You're just in the office. You're deployed to the office. That's where you were. It's okay. We'll celebrate you. It's fine.
I'm a warrior all through. My records are there. I don't sit in the office. Even when I was even in Nigeria as GOC 1D, those who are in Kaduna 2012 and 13 up to January 2014 will attest to it that no, I'm not an office person. The only time I sit in the office when I was serving as military assistant, even director of operations, I'm always in the field, cross-checking, checking, whatever. So I'm not an office person while I was in service, apart from those few occasions, or when I was in training institution, telling people how to do it. So I'm always on the move and always I'm a warrior.
Ready to battle.
Warrior. Thank you very much.
Major General.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you on behalf of TVC, ladies of your view, we appreciate the work you've done and your service to your country and to our country.
Thank you very much.
That's all we can take on today's show. Let's take a few comments on social media if we do have any, just to continue to. And I think one of the things I got from Major General's comments is that we Nigerians, we the people, must also do our own part in celebrating our heroes. So, for example, if you have a neighbor whose husband maybe died during the war, it's also part of our responsibility to support them in some way. You know, support the school fees of the kids, support in payments of rent, the welfare of the family, loved ones, check up on them once in a while, give them food, during Christmas, send them stuff. These are community responsibilities that we should begin to participate in as Nigerians and not only expect the military as an entity to do that on our behalf. So I think it's an eye-opener to us as Nigerians to see what we can do.
Yeah. On the last topic.
Yeah, last topic. It's okay.
They need our support.
All right. That is all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day and enjoy today's Armed Forces Remembrance Day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.